Hello there, and welcome to today's session. We're going to be looking at Caribbean passports and dual citizenship today, focusing on what is perhaps the most exciting Caribbean citizenship by investment scheme out there at the minute, and that's St Lucia. A beautiful island, a wonderful holiday and retirement destination, but also the land of huge opportunity when it comes to your global mobility. I can't wait to tell you why. I'm really excited to share today's session with you. So let's dive right in. First things first, what is the agenda for this presentation? We'll get started with the basics, who we are and what we do. And by we, I mean Holborn Assets and our dedicated citizenship by investment division, Holborn Pass. We'll then look at Caribbean citizenship by investment, what it is, how it works, and what makes it particularly interesting for people looking for greater freedom and also a plan B if things go wrong in their home country. Now that might be you. Next, we'll dive into St Lucia, a quick intro into the country, and then we'll examine the key features behind their citizenship by investment program, which has recently been revamped by their ambitious new government in an attempt to bring in new investors to the country. We'll look at the benefits on offer and then go through the process and timeline so that you know exactly what to expect should you apply for this citizenship. We'll then close this session by talking about the various investment options available. And spoiler alert, there is one standout route that we take here at Holborn Assets, which can make the passport much cheaper and lower risk to obtain than the other routes available. So I'll be telling you about that shortly. And that should be more than enough for today's overview session. A quick word on Holborn Assets to get started, and if you've watched any of my other sessions, you might have seen this slide before, or at least a version of it. We're one of the largest expat financial services firms, specializing in investment solutions for internationally minded people. Our aim is to put the right money in the right place at the right time, which means being with you for all the major financial milestones in your life. We currently serve over 20,000 clients across more than 100 different countries around the world and manage over $3 billion worth of their assets. We're different from many operators in the citizenship by investment space because our core business is a regulated activity. So we have a division that is regulated by the FCA in the UK, another that's regulated in the EU, and other investment and securities licenses for the major jurisdictions around the world. We're multi-award winners, extremely proud of our 4.8 out of 5 rating on Trustpilot, which puts us firmly at the forefront, at the head of the offshore financial services market. And perhaps more importantly, our team has handled more than 1,000 citizenship and residency applications at a 100% success rate. We currently process more than 200 applications per year, so by working with us, you can be sure that you're in good hands. We are an expert team, highly experienced, and with an excellent track record of putting our clients first. What about me? Very, very quickly, my name is Jonathan. I'm a senior wealth manager here at Holborn Assets. I'm a fully qualified and licensed financial advisor to expats around the world. I've been an expat myself for the best part of a decade. However, I qualified back in the UK, and I help expats or would-be expats to secure their second citizenship in the way that makes the most financial and fiscal sense for them. Often, I will also help them with portfolio management and tax planning after that. And if you'd like to contact me at any point, you can see my email address on the screen there. Please feel free to get in touch. I'm always happy to help. So let's dive into the Caribbean. Oh, what a wonderful image that is, diving into the Caribbean. And why would you want a Caribbean passport? Why are they so popular? Because believe me, they are. And here's why, and perhaps the biggest reason is in that big blue box there: visa-free travel and access to the world. Now, if you're currently a citizen of a country that doesn't have visa-free agreements with the major nation states, regions, and markets, then you know just how frustrating it can be. Long delays getting visas approved, no appointment availability, having to cancel trips, or simply just not being able to go. This can really get in the way of a productive business and personal life. However, with a Caribbean passport, you have visa-free access to the UK, to the EU Schengen area, and more than 140 different countries around the world. This can, quite literally, open your world and give your family global opportunities. You can forget about visa delays and rejections and just focus on living your life as you wish to live it. A Caribbean passport is also a wonderful plan B, an insurance policy, if you will, and I'll go into that in the following slides. Being a Caribbean citizen also gives you the right to work, live, and access services across the entirety of the region. And also from a planning and lifestyle perspective, not only is the Caribbean the ideal retirement destination in the future, but it also offers a very attractive low tax regime and access to free healthcare and attractive education opportunities. So let's introduce St Lucia before we get into the nuts and bolts. And also, why is it one of the leading citizenship by investment programs in the region and the world now? Well, getting started, St Lucia is one of the Windward Islands. It's tucked away on the eastern side of the Caribbean in the Lesser Antilles. You can see it on the map there. We've blown it up a little bit so that we can show you. St Lucia operates a parliamentary democracy, which is actually based on the British system. The UK monarch, so King Charles III, is also the sovereign of St Lucia, and the island is a part of the Commonwealth. And being a Commonwealth citizen brings certain advantages, which we will go into shortly. In terms of religion, St Lucia is a broadly Christian nation, with the majority of residents being Catholic. The capital is Castries, the currency is the East Caribbean dollar, and the official language of the country is English, although some residents do speak French patois. This combined with the UK, the influences from the UK across government and legislation makes St Lucia a very, very easy place to do business with and also to navigate bureaucracy. And that's ideal when we're looking for a second passport. St Lucia is a small island. It's just over 600 square kilometers in size and has a population of just 183,000 people. But even though it's a small island, the Citizenship by Investment program has become, as I just mentioned, one of the most popular in the world since its establishment in 2015. Applications are processed extremely quickly, taking around just 4 months to get your passport after the application is submitted. One of the great things about St Lucia is how easy it is to include other family members. So all dependent children under the age of 30 can be included. Although that being said, it is a little bit more expensive if they are over the age of 16. And also dependent parents over the age of 55 can also be included, or for that matter, any parent over the age of 65 with no conditions on dependency. And when I talk about dependency, essentially that means that they are living with the main applicant, and there are various ways that we can demonstrate a dependency for the purposes of the passport. Once granted, the citizenship is irrevocable and it can be passed down to all future generations. So this is really an investment in not only your future, but your children's, your children's children's, your children's 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 future, and beyond. It's a really powerful thing, leaving a legacy that will give your family much greater options and freedoms for generations to come. Also very interesting is that at no point will you need to travel to St Lucia during the application process. The whole thing can be done from the comfort of your home, and in a few short months, your new passports will be delivered to your home address. And of course, a St Lucian passport comes with a raft of benefits, which we'll be going into in just a second. But important to highlight, as a Commonwealth country, it gives you privileged access to the UK, whether as a place to stay or a place to do business. This can be very powerful if a life or a business in the UK is your ultimate goal. However, if your ultimate goal is to get a route into the USA, again, as a place of work or as a place to do business, and this is the case for a lot of people looking at global mobility, St Lucia would not be the right citizenship program for you. If you're looking at getting a route into the USA, rather you should be looking at Grenada instead, which has special treaties with the United States that allows its citizens and their families to live, work, study, open businesses there. In the near future, I'll be doing another video that covers Grenada specifically and that route into the USA. So do subscribe to this channel if you'd like to watch that when it's ready. But for the remainder of this session, we will be focusing on St Lucia. So who is this for? Why is this program so popular? Well, two underlying principal reasons. Number one is freedom, and number two is a Plan B insurance policy. Now, on the topic of freedom, a St Lucian passport gives its holder a great many freedoms. If your current passport doesn't give you visa-free access to the UK and EU, then you'll understand the value of having this, as we mentioned. Being able to just get on a plane and go travel, meet family, or explore new business opportunities is a powerful benefit that can really change your personal and professional life. You'll be able to attend work events, trade shows, meetings, and access new opportunities through access to new, wealthy markets. You can go on spontaneous trips without any prior planning and discover new places easily. Looking longer term, you can also retire in any of the Eastern Caribbean states. And let's be honest, what a wonderful place to retire to. You'll also be able to access a great free healthcare system and wonderful education options for your family. And last, but by no means least, the tax rates that you'll pay as a resident of St Lucia are very low indeed, with no capital gains tax, no inheritance tax, no wealth tax, just a low tax regime generally. And even better, becoming a citizen of St Lucia does not change your tax position in any way if you are not planning to actually relocate. So from a tax position, it really is a no-brainer. A St Lucian passport is also a wonderful plan B if you are concerned about the future of your home country. Now, having a Caribbean passport means that you can escape any potential wars or potentially politically dangerous situations, escape to a safe island nation in the event of another pandemic. Of course, we're all very mindful of what happened with COVID-19, but St. Lucia is somewhere where it is very, very easy to control the flow of people in and out, mainly because it is a small island. St. Lucian passport would also give you the ability to escape any punitive tax treatments that you might be subject to in your home country. And we've seen this a lot in places like, for example, Canada in recent years. You can also escape any discrimination or persecution in your home country. Now, this might be based on your religious beliefs, sexuality, racism, or other challenges that you might face. And finally, a St. Lucian passport offers you the potential for new places to live in the future, such as the UK, which is of course a great plan B option if you're looking for stability and security for your family. Recapping and digging a little deeper into those benefits then, and I don't want to labor this point too much, there are just a great many benefits and they need to be properly explained. A St Lucian passport, as we've mentioned, gives you visa-free access to 146 countries around the world. That includes the UK and the EU Schengen area. It gives you the right to live up to 6 months at a time in the UK per visit. Very interesting. It's not actually written into law what you need to do between visits. So what most people actually do is stay in the UK for up to 6 months, and then they'll travel through Europe using the 90, 180-day rule through the Schengen area. They might stay in Europe for a month or so, however long they feel like it, and then go back again for another 6 months when they're ready. Now, this can be a great route to ultimately achieving residency in the UK in the future, although that being said, the UK is tightening up their immigration laws, and this is of course subject to possible change in the future. As a citizen of St Lucia, which is a part of CARICOM and the OECS, you have the unlimited right to live, work, retire, and study across 9 highly desirable Caribbean nations. So if you're one of these families or one of these people that likes moving around, that's almost a new Caribbean island for every single month of the year. What's more, St Lucia is extremely well connected with many direct flights to and from the UK and the USA due to its popularity as a holiday and honeymoon destination. We've mentioned it before, but it's important to repeat the tax benefits of St Lucia are significant. So if you're a resident there, there's no capital gains tax. That makes it a wonderful option if you're a business owner that's looking to sell in the future. There's no stamp duty on property. There's no inheritance tax. There's no wealth tax. There's no tax on your worldwide income. And any American citizens watching this will know just how painful that can be. And once again, full access to great healthcare and education for the whole family, and that actually includes preferential access to UK universities if your children or grandchildren are looking at higher education. This, of course, gives them outstanding prospects for the future. So that's the why fully covered. So if you're still watching this, maybe you're thinking that the St Lucia passport could be right for you. If that's the case, then let's look at the process and the timelines. Now, I mentioned it's a 4-month processing time. We tend to advise allowing up to 6 months as per this slide, just in case there are any delays at any stage. Now, when we get started, there are background checks that need to be performed. This means making sure that you are not linked to terrorism, major financial crimes, war crimes, or any other sanctions. On topic of sanctions, unfortunately, due to the ongoing sanctions in place against Russian citizens, St Lucia is not currently accepting applications from Russians. If you are Iranian, on the other hand, St Lucia can accept your application subject to enhanced due diligence checks. Once the background checks have been cleared and the legal fees have been paid, your application is then compiled. And for that, we'll need documents, and quite a few of them, I'm afraid. Medical certificates, police clearance certificates, birth certificates, marriage certificates, anything else needed to demonstrate the veracity and authenticity of the details that we are providing in your application. Our lawyers will then submit the application pack to the government for due processing. Now, interestingly, in the case of St Lucia, we don't actually need to make the qualifying investment or donation until your application is actually approved. This is great because it lowers the risk to you. Although, that being said, we do have a 100% approval rate in the country, which we are very proud of. So, once you are approved, we will make the payments to complete the process, be that an investment or a donation. We'll go into that shortly. And then shortly after that, your certificate of citizenship will be issued. And it's at this stage that your passports are not too far behind, and these will be couriered to you once they are ready. And there you are. You are now a proud holder of a second citizenship in the Caribbean and all that comes with it. How do we actually do this then? What are the investment routes and how much does it all cost? Well, there are 3 routes to a St Lucian passport. Number 1 is the donation route. Typically, well, historically, this has been the most popular route. This requires a donation of at least $100,000 to St Lucia, that's US dollars, by the way, plus legal fees and costs. This amount does increase to $140,000 with a spouse, and then will increase further if there are additional dependents on the application. Number 2 is the real estate route. Now, this requires an investment into real estate worth $200,000 US dollars or more. But there are some tight conditions around the specific real estate projects that qualify, and it can be quite difficult to resell as a result. On its own, this can make real estate seem less attractive than the donation route, as there are some considerable risks involved with Caribbean real estate, unless these are managed correctly. And that's where we come in. So Holborn actually adopts a very specific approach that removes the risk from the real estate transaction and makes it considerably cheaper than the donation route at the same time. So stay tuned to find out how. I will cover that in just a minute. And the final route is investing $300,000 in zero yield government bonds. Now, this isn't popular at all because there is an additional cost of around $80,000 depending on the application for this, and you have no growth on your capital until it is repaid to you after 5 years. So from a financial planning perspective and looking at the time value of money, this isn't usually a particularly smart move. So what do these routes actually look like in practice? What are the other costs to consider? Now, I appreciate this is quite a busy slide. This table doesn't consider legal fees, which will vary depending on the complexity of the application, but these are standard across all 3 routes, and the aim of this slide is to compare and contrast. So go ahead and pause this video if you'd like to study this slide. I'm not going to bore you by breaking it down line by line. The most important takeaway here is that the Holborn approach, which is a twist on the real estate route, is the most attractive way forward and should be the one to consider. And I'll explain why now. So with all costs considered, if you were going down the donation route, you'd be looking at around $130,000 in sunk costs for a single applicant, and even more if bringing the rest of the family as well. For the government bond route, you're tying up your capital for 5 years with no returns and still incurring around $80,000 in sunk costs. Now, we don't like either of these options, so we have designed another way, using real estate and all the flexibility that comes with that. Now, with real estate, the standard process is to buy shares of an approved real estate project for $200,000. Now, note that these are shares, not a full title deed to a property, and they must be held for 5 years. The exit strategy is not easy. Why? Because you'll need to find another investor that's looking to purchase these shares. Now, if the citizenship by investment program closes during those 5 years, you'll really struggle to find someone else to buy those shares from you. What's more, there are no buyback guarantees offered by qualifying real estate options in St Lucia, so this really is not a great way of approaching it. And that's one of the main reasons why the donation route traditionally has been the most popular route for investors looking for the second citizenship. However, The Holborn approach is different. Now, how this works, we enter into private agreements with the real estate developer directly that essentially require you to contribute just $55,000. The developer will then fund the remainder to bring you up to the required amount. In return, you'll need to sign an agreement with the developer that then relinquishes your claim to the real estate after the deal is complete. This essentially converts this almost into a donation at a reduced value. This means that the entire deal is also handled within a matter of weeks. You don't have to worry about asset disposal. And the best part is that for a single applicant, the total cost of the passport, including all the fees that are involved with every aspect of the process, is just $102,000. That is around $30,000 cheaper than the donation route. Therefore, this is comfortably the most profitable way to get a Caribbean passport with no ongoing risk or exposure. It's the best way for any investor to get their second citizenship, regardless of their circumstances and objectives. So hopefully that shows you why you might wish to consider working with us. But just to sweeten it a little bit more, let me show you what you'd be getting if you were indeed to work with us on this. It's an end-to-end process. Firstly, we do a full review with you to make sure that we're going into the right program and investment route for you, your needs and your goals. We'll take care of all citizenship paperwork and application documents and make sure that all the administrative boxes are ticked and handled for you. We'll then take care of all application submissions, translations where required, certification of documents, and then bring you the best real estate opportunities that exist in the space, such as the dynamic of the deal that I've just outlined to you. Naturally, when working with a business of the size and scale of Holborn, we will ensure that all opportunities are fully vetted through rigorous due diligence, and we'll also coordinate any local requirements through the appointed legal agents that are on the ground. Once everything has been submitted and processed, we'll take care of ensuring a timely approval of your citizenship, obtaining the necessary certificates, and then ensuring that your passports are couriered out to you to your home address at the earliest opportunity. And that's all you need to know, really. This is a fully managed end-to-end process that really is a very, very simple and effective way of acquiring a powerful citizenship and opening your world and your family's world to new opportunities. So there you have it. I hope today's session was helpful and gave you some food for thought on your options for the future and how a second citizenship can quite literally open your world. Now, this isn't a live session like I usually do, so if you have any questions, please drop me an email. My email address is jonathan.ralph@holbornassets.com, and I'll be more than happy to help you out in any way that I can. If you'd like to book in some time with me to go through your own circumstances on a private Zoom call, there's a link in the description box below, which will take you directly to my calendar. You can book in a time with me, and again, it would be my pleasure to help you out wherever I can. So on that note, thank you for joining me today. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest opportunities in the second citizenship space. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now. Take care.